Tim, welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Panerai Luminor 1953 days PAM 663. You can see this stainless steel Panerai Luminor 1950 and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and naturally full pricing details. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this is the 1950 case in its traditional 47mm size. That case and that size have been with us since they debuted in 2002, and you can see it's just a little bit more of an historically inspired rather than contemporary case shape, more sensuous with compound curves and stronger character lines. It's also a little bit slimmer in profile, and it allows a dress cuff or a tight sleeve to more easily ride up and over the side of this watch, and that in spite of a fairly thick profile. Now the watch is approximately 16.5mm thick, but you'll note that there's really no issue getting a sleeve up and over this watch. You have so many ramps to help you with the curved case flank, the step of that bezel, its conical shape, and of course a genuine domed plexiglass. That's not sapphire looking like plexiglass trying to create a vintage effect. That's the real thing. That's thermoplastic, and you can see the distortion it creates on the dial. Incredibly handsome. Now it is 56mm from lug to lug, but it doesn't wear as such. You can see how short, close cropped, and curved those lugs are. They really just bend around my wrist, and if I can fit it on my 16cm wrist this easily, you should be able to fit it on a wrist down to 15 centimeters with the same kind of ease, style, and security. Now the watch does have good heft to it. It's a big case, it's a big watch, it's a substantial strap. You'll also note handsome vintage cues. This one is a purist Panerai. In an era when we have equations of time, tourbillon, all manner of high horology and métier d'art, a throwback vintage-inspired Panerai is almost like a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and that starts with this gorgeous strap. Now Panerai calls this strap the Ponte Vecchio. It's incredibly supple. It almost feels like a very tender beef jerky. I'm being a little colloquial there, but the watch wears it well. It's deserving of a little bit of ribbing because this is so butter smooth. It's almost at odds with the watch's mission as a sports timepiece, but the luxury will be appreciated, as will the ecru vintage patina style contrasting stitch. Now the case itself, I should mention, it has a polished pin buckle for easy adjustability on the fly, but the case itself is the 1950, beautifully contoured, all of high polish with the exception of the crown guard assembly, which is satin for contrast. Now inboard you see a dial that is directly inspired by vintage Panerai watches, actual survivors of the era when Panerai was a supplier to the Italian Navy. Now those watches today have the same kind of tobacco brown dial base as they've aged in the presence of moisture, UV rays, and even the radioactive loom of the time. Now the sandwich dial itself is evocative in its own right. The sandwich is a stencil on top of a fully loomed disc. These wells have been robustly filled to create more of a flush appearance, but it is a sandwich style dial. And the loom itself, like the stitching, like the dial base, is designed to evoke the patina look of true vintage Panerai watches from the 1950s. Now there is a little bit of upscale here with rose gold hands at center, and I'll mention that with a caliber 3000 inside, you have the ability to quick set the hour hand as you travel through time zones. This does not stop the balance, it does not engage hacking, such that you're easily able to adjust the watch without affecting its isochronism or performance. Now underneath this handsome heritage-inspired dial, you have the caliber 3000 in its train finger iteration. What I mean by train finger is that the actual wheels of the going train from the twin mainspring barrels to the balance are borne on their own separate wheel cocks. So this is a vintage aesthetic, not necessarily vintage to Panerai's heritage, but a tribute to Swiss watchmaking more generally. It's incredibly handsome, it's different, and again, on a Panerai watch, you're looking for a combination of iconic profile, which this watch has. No one would say this is anything other than an essential Panerai Luminor in profile and purpose, but a little bit of differentiation where you can't always see it. The surprise and delight when you turn the watch over really enhances the ownership experience. Now the screw and case back in the crown guard system endow this watch with robust water resistance to the point that you can easily take it swimming, shallow diving, snorkeling, 100 meters, no problem here. The movement itself features a full balance bridge with a free sprung balance for still more resilience against shock, against disruptions. Not only does it make the watch more resistant to damage, but it also makes it more resistant to shock-induced timing deviation. And again, a 72-hour power reserve. This is a good watch to own if you own several watches and you like to rotate through without having to rewind constantly. Of course, as a Panerai Luminor. It has the classic and iconic domed or crescent-shaped crown guard, the device protecting the crown with the locking lever. So you pull the crown guard open. Now you can wind the watch, you can pull out the crown, you can manipulate it without any kind of fight. Unlike a screw-down crown, which will fight you when your hands are wet or sweaty or gloved, this system allows you ease of access, and then it locks and provides the same level of hermeticity you would get from something like a Rolex twin lock crown down to 100 meters. Plus, it gives you all-aspect bash protection that shields the delicate crown assembly. A handsome watch, a versatile watch, a purist's Panerai. This is the Panerai PAM 663.